Hi. Well, that thing with that was put on YouTube, it's not going through. Can't hear my words, and then I can't even make a video. So I'll just record with this thing here, which is better, I think. Okay, I'll continue here. I'll read back a little bit. Daniel continued to work away on his latest object to be placed inside a truck stop restroom. He picked up the paper plate and examined his latest creation. As he examined it, Daniel thought about the president's response to such an Islamic attack on Chicago. Here, Daniel began to find himself growing in anger again, for instead of the president talking about destroying the Kaaba in Mecca and burying it in pig waste, or even going so far as threatening to nuke Mecca if another nuclear device was set off in a city, the president instead sat behind the table of the Oval Office, talked about how Islam was a peaceful and tolerant religion. A peaceful and tolerant religion. How it was a great religion that, for unknown reasons still, was just hijacked by millions of really evil and stupid people, possibly under the control of Satan, to try to make Islam look evil and satanic. We will never be at war with Islam, Daniel remembered the president saying behind the table with the camera on him that day. Such a sentence made Daniel grit his teeth. Daniel sat stoically as he remembered the president, then saying, in spite of the best radiation detectors we had in the American city, evildoers were able to set off 2 nuclear devices in Chicago, bringing down the Willis Tower while almost bringing down the John Hancock building as well. My fellow Americans, that can't be allowed to happen ever again. Since the nuking of Mecca will undoubtedly set off countless more nuclear devices in our cities, which, again, we are unable to prevent, I'm ordering the removal of all material off the internet that Muslims deem hateful toward both themselves as well as Islam. If anyone objects, they will be interned and detained in undisclosed locations. If you resist, you'll be shot on sight. Again, we cannot allow another nuclear device to be set off in our cities. In the speech, the president stopped short of instilling Sharia law to appease, quote, evildoers in the name of Islam, setting off setting off more in the name of Islam, setting off more nukes in cities, but reiterated again that all material on the internet seen as, quote, hateful toward Islam would be removed as soon as possible. Daniel Kobashi tried to control his anger and concentrate on the object he was preparing. He then continued to check to see if there was any residue of hair, fingernails, or DNA anywhere on the packet that could get him a one-way ticket to one of those undisclosed locations. Find the object evidence free, Daniel picked up a marble from a can and put it in his top shirt pocket as he eyed a little white bag of flour that was a bag made out of toilet tissue paper. Daniel took some tape, made a Mobius strip out of it, and placed it on the little bag. Right when he was about to tape it down onto the CD and place another CD over it to seal it in, he stopped himself and said, "No, no, it's not quite time." He removed the bag of flour and placed it on the side of his mattress. "This is not the place for it," he said to himself. Daniel became still as he thought what to do next. Noticing that it was looking like he was going to looking like it was looking noticing that it was looking like it was going to snow, Daniel picked up a stapler and took the CD tape to a paper plate, placed another paper plate inside it. After placing it under his black leather jacket he was wearing, he then walked over to his CB, turned it on, and said, "Hello, I'm a person of the book, obeying Quran 568, which tells me that I have no ground to stand upon unless I stand firm upon the Torah and Injil, and I'm waiting for you, a Muslim, to come to me for my reading the before scriptures, which is the Bible, because Quran 1094 told Muhammad to do so if he was in doubt about the Quran. And Muslims are to use Muhammad as their example. And I've read the before scriptures. That is, again, the Bible. Daniel waited for a while. A trucker's voice came in asking for what the shit he was talking about. Is there a fucking terrorist in the parking lot? Another trucker asked. Daniel didn't respond. He waited a bit, then got out of his truck to head toward the truck stop. When Daniel entered the restroom of the Love's truck stop, he suddenly smiled a bit. When he looked at the sink, great, it's gone, he said silently to himself. But the smile soon left him when he decided to check the trash bins. He reached in and pulled out one of his paper plate packets that he had placed into the restroom a couple of hours earlier. It was crushed with a big oily shoe print on it. When no one was looking, he walked over to place it back onto the sink he had placed it on earlier. Suddenly, he noticed a piece of the CD he had stapled inside it fall out from a crack that hadn't been stapled. It was not only stamped on, but bent and broken into two parts. Still, he placed it on the sink and was just about to leave the restroom when he suddenly noticed writing in English on the other side of the gold-painted paper plate packet that didn't have the shoe print on it. There were 3 words written with a felt pen on it, spelling out, "Death to haters." When he saw that, Daniel suddenly felt a bit ill to his stomach. How did they know it had anything dealing with Islam if it hadn't been played? Daniel looked about the restroom nervously to see if he was being watched. Finding no one suspiciously looking at him, he left the room while trying to act composed, all the while scanning the semi-crowded truck stop store. As he walked past a couple of aisles stacked with heart-clogging trucker food, he noticed some young-looking, Middle Eastern-looking guy wearing a cowboy hat near the exit of the truck store. As he walked past, near the exit of the truck store, the young guy with the hat was looking at him. Daniel smiled and waved at him, but there was no wave of friendliness from this guy. Instead, he put his black leather-gloved hand up to his throat and made it look like he was putting a knife across his throat. He then pointed at Daniel He then pointed at Daniel he then pointed at Daniel and gave Daniel a glare of extreme hate. And he then pointed at Daniel and gave Daniel a glare of extreme hate. If there was such a thing as the evil eye, this guy was giving Daniel both of them. Daniel felt his heart pound, and he felt as though he was about to pass out. The young guy quickly left through the doors. Daniel quickly collected himself and ran after him to see where he was going. But the young man had disappeared under the trailer of a truck that was gassing up. Passed under a trailer truck, the trailer of a truck that was gassing up. Or should I say fueling up. That was fueling up. Daniel looked down and saw that he must have run under the tractor trailers as well, vanishing into the cold darkness. Fear continued to show in Daniel's eyes, but he knew he couldn't let it paralyze him. But he knew he shouldn't. Okay, I have Daniel. Daniel's eyes, but he knew he couldn't let it paralyze him. He quickly tossed out the paper plate packet material from under his jacket and ran as fast as he could through the trucks, nearly getting run over by a big rig that came tearing around the corner of parked tractor trailers, just missing Daniel by inches. So concerned was Daniel about where his possible killers were that he forgot about the crushing wheels of 18-wheelers. Every little dark place Daniel passed by now seemed to be is about as safe as a hungry tiger's lair. As Daniel looked about to try to remember where he parked a truck that pretty much looked like any other truck, he suddenly heard the scream of a woman. He turned about and saw where the scream had come from. A woman was screaming at something on the ground at the boundary of the Love's truck stop next to an open field. Daniel ran over to the woman to see if she needed help. He and other truckers came running with him to see what was wrong. When they got to the place, they saw the woman pointing at something on the ground. It was the remains of a man, possibly a fellow trucker, due to the jeans and cap he was still wearing on his head. He was also crushed flat as a long strip of pita bread on the pavement. Do you think the ice made him slip under the wheels when the truck was pulling out? Asked a woman, who was a trucker herself. Strange position to be in, said another trucker. Look how he's aligned. Plus, he's so far back here, nearly up against the wall, separating lot from field. Damn, it's as if he was placed under the tandems. I'm betting it was another suicide. A red-haired trucker then said, "A lot of that going on in this profession. No one wants to pay truckers a decent salary no more." An angry voiced trucker then added, "Probably had to pay another fine for accidentally going over a bridge with the weight limit sign deliberately removed." Daniel got a better look at the corpse. I've got to stop it here.